Daily Chumash live and Rashi for Thursday. I think it's longer today, tomorrow. It's a little
It's
longer
pretty
today.
long today. It's about eight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today's daily synopsis, we're going to cover Moshe warning the Jewish people not to listen to false prophets, and Moshe will also review the laws of cities of refuge for the accidental murderer. Pasuk Yudalad, verse 14. For these nations which you are taking over, they listen to the predictors of the diviners, of those who predict, you know, auspicious time calculations, and they listen to diviners. And you, Hashem, your God, has not allowed you to do so. Yud Dalit. As for you, however, Hashem, your God, has not allowed you to do so. To listen to those who predict their auspicious time calculations of diviners. For he has let divine presence rest upon the prophets and upon the Urim and Tumim and communicate his word. Meaning, they, because they don't have access to, the truth as much, you have truer ways to deal with it. It's not saying you shall not. It's saying you have no need. You have prophets. You have the Urim and Tumim. Tesvav. Navi bikir b'chamecha. Instead, Hashem your God will appoint for you a prophet like me. Yakum l'chashem lekecha. A love tishmon, you shall listen to him. Rashi mikir b'chamecha. From among your brethren, like I am, you will have a prophet. Meaning, just like I am from among you, so too the prophet will be from your brethren. And similarly, every successive prophet.
Kendall, why are you on my computer? You're just looking at it? Good.
Okay. Um, Tezayin. Just like you request from Hashem regard Chorev on the day of the assembly, saying, this is like all your requests from Hashem your God at Chorev on the day of the assembly, saying, B'yom HaKol that Lo Osef L'Shma L'Kol Hashem Elikai, do not, let us not continue to hear the voice of Hashem your God directly. Ves Eish Agdola Azos, and no longer see this great fire. That we do not die. Okay. You asked for a prov. You asked for an intermediary, right? Because you said we don't want to have God give us directly. Yud Ches. Navi Akim Lahem Beker Achechem I will appoint for them a prophet from among their brethren like you are. I will place my words of prophecy and I'm sorry, God, when you said that, said God said to me, they spoke well. Yudchas, Navi Akim Lahem Beker Achechem I will appoint a prophet from among your brethren like you to take over. I will put my words in his mouth. And he will, God will speak everything I'm commanding them. And again. Yutes, v'haya ish asher lo yishmel dvarai. It will then be the man who does not heed my words, asher daber shmi, will then be the man who does not heed my words, which the prophet speaks my name. I will exact retribution from him. However, the prophet who brazenly speaks words in my name that I did not command him, a false prophet, or speaks the names of gods of others, let this prophet die. A prophet shall die. Puff. Prophet speaks in my name that I did not command him. For example, this is saying not that if God said something to Prophet A, to Ruvain, and Prophet Ruvain is about to say something, he tells it over to son Shimon, Shimon shouldn't pretend that God told to him. Or he speaks to gods about in the name of other gods. Even if he says what's according to the halacha, to forbid what's he says, Zeus told me to forbid, milk and meat. Or Zeus said you could have, kosher meat. That's also a false prophet. Umes, that false prophet she put to death. How? Through strangulation. The three categories of false prophet. So we have three categories. Someone who prophesies what he did not hear. Someone who it wasn't said to him was said to another. Or one who prophesies the name of an idol. Right? So here, there's different ways you could be a false prophet. You could say, you made something up, or your friend who's a real prophet said, God told me to tell this to the people, and you preempt him, you say it instead of him, pretending that God told you. Even it's true prophecy to your friend, but you're then taking the credit or pretending it was said to you. Or you prophesize the name of an idol. But the other areas of not good prophecy, someone who suppresses his prophecy, or someone who disobeys a prophet, or someone who disobeys his own prophetic words, like Yonah, for example, right? Yonah didn't do what he's supposed to do. And their punishment is death by the hands of heaven. And it says elsewhere in verse 19, I will exact retribution from him. That's what's earlier. And when you ask yourself, how will we know what are the words that Hashem did not speak? How will we know? When you ask yourself, you're destined to say this when Hanan bin Azur
Frozen. You're frozen. The picture's frozen. Okay, can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was just about to leave the meeting and give up, and then I see that it looks like I've been given hosting privileges, so I don't know what to do. Has anybody heard from Yitzi?
Huh,
I
that's
mean,
different.
yeah, it gave me the option to end the meeting for all.
Usually he'll tell us why.
Yeah. Um, oh, there he is. Okay.
Sorry.
We lost you.
Yeah, someone knocked out the modem.
Ah,
All right. 1 second.
I may switch devices soon, so I may stop
Won't be
this
long.
one and move to my phone. Just change locations. So, nope, no, we lost Pesach, David.
Oh, let's continue. Okay, good. All right, good. Fine, let's go. Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Um, continuing. So Jeremiah had a rival prophet who was a false prophet. He said, God's gonna not put you into exile. Jeremiah said, no, they're gonna be put, even what didn't, there was only partial exile at the time. The rest will be brought into exile into Babel with the exile of the next king of Tzidkiyahu. So that's an example of Hanani ben Azur in history was a prophet. So you have two conflicting prophets. How do they know what to choose, right? Listen to Jeremiah, listen to Hanani ben Azur. So what's the criteria for a true prophet versus a false one? That which the prophet speaks in the name of Hashem. Will not be nor will happen. It will not be nor will happen. These are the words of the eternal. Hashem did not speak. This prophet spoke brazenly. Do not be afraid of him. Rashi. When the prophet speaks and says this is going to happen, and you see it doesn't happen. So this is the criteria. He says X will happen and it doesn't happen. Then you know he's a false prophet. These are the words God did not speak, and therefore put him to death. But wait a second. This verse basically tells us that a prophet foretells the future, and if it doesn't happen, he's a liar, put to death. I think it's gonna. I don't know if here it qualifies as elsewhere that that's only if he gave a positive prediction. A positive prediction has to come true. A negative one, prophet could say something, but the Jews could do teshuvah and then abrogate it. But anyways, Rashi's talking about something else. He continues on. What about a case about where someone says, do this sin, and I'm saying it on authority from God. We've already been commanded elsewhere that if he comes to, we already know, we said earlier, if he tells you deviate from the mitzvah, he's a liar. So the exception to that is when he's he's a holy, righteous man like Elijah at Mount Carmel, who temporarily offered a sacrifice outside the temple, the Mishkan. You weren't allowed to do that usually, but he was allowed then to offer the sacrifice on a private altar because there was a lot of idol worship. He was making a showdown between him and the false prophets of Baal. That's a leniency where a prophet go against the Torah. It depends on the needs of the time and the type of barrier needed to prevent the breach. Therefore says to him, you shall listen. Like Sagar do not be afraid of him. Like Simna Atzmacha, do not hold yourself back from incriminating him. Like Sidal Anish do not be afraid of being punished on his account. Okay, fine. So that ends the don't be afraid of a false prophet. Parakutes. When Hashem your God eliminates the nations whose land Hashem your God is giving you, you take them over of Yeshat Vareim Bevatem. And you take them over and you live in their cities and houses. Base. Shalish Harim Tavzalach, you shall then separate for yourself 3 cities. It's your land. Hashem your God is giving you to take possession of. You shall prepare for yourselves the way, sign stating refuge, refuge at every crossroads. You shall divide into 3 the territory of your land. So the beginning of the border until the first refuge city should be the same distance as from the first city to the second, and so on. Second to the third, and so on from the third city to the opposite border of the land of Israel. So basically, you have to make it equidistant. These cities. Yeah. Gimel. Tachin Lacham. I might have said that. Derech, you shall prepare the ways, make signs, Shlas is make it equidistant in thirds. Hashem bestowing upon you this land. And then every accidental murderer can flee there. Okay, Dalit. What type of murderer? This is the case of this murderer. That gets to flee there and live. Who is that? What type of murderer? Someone who strikes his friend unknowingly, unwittingly. And he did not hate him mitmal yesterday, shulshim 2 days ago. It was a freak accident. Hey, anyone who someone who enters the forest to chop wood, and his hand swings with the axe to cut the wood. And his hand swings with the axe to chop the wood. And the iron blade slips off the wooden handle. And it happens to hit his fellow man, so he dies. He shall flee to one of these cities and thus remain alive. His hand swings. When he comes to bring down his axe upon the wood. Onkelos translates that as Visismere Yadeh. His hand slipped down to bring down a blow of the axe upon the wood. Kisham Tabakar, I don't remember, so it's slipping. Basically, his hand is swinging down. And the iron slips off the wood, says Rashi. Some rabbis say that the metal blade slipped off the handle and then the blade hit the person. Or that the metal blade caused a piece of wood to like a wood chip to fly off and kill somebody. Okay, Vav. So why does this guy have to flee? So that the next of kin, the blood avenger, a relative who's angry, high-headed relative, he pursues him because he's angry of killing his relative. So you basically have to make this refuge with very good signs and very good highways, and make them equidistant from anywhere in the land. It's so that the next of kin shouldn't try to avenge the death, catch up, because it's too far away. And the guy did not have a mishpat mavis. For he did not hate him yesterday or this guy's accidentally, he doesn't deserve to die because he didn't hate him. Rashi, Penir de Adam. So basically, why do you make it equidistant and good sign so the Goyal Hadam, the blood avenger, shouldn't get him, shouldn't get the murderer? That's why I said make ways in many cities. The way in it. Zion. That's why I told you separate 3 cities. Ches. If Hashem your God will expand your territory promised to your forefathers, give you the whole land, meaning not just the 7 nations, but the 3 extra ones, the Keni, Knis, Vikadmoni, which is actually Edom, Moab, and Ammon, which is Mashiach will come. That's when we'll get expanded land around Israel. He spoke to you to give to your fathers. But he commanded and he swore to give you the land of the Keni, Knis, Vikadmoni. Test ki sishma as kol mitzvah zeh tasesa. You safeguard all these commandments I'm commanding you today. To love Hashem your God and to follow in His ways for all time. You shall then add another 3 cities upon these 3 cities. You should add another 3. Making a total of 9. 3 on the east side of the Jordan, 3 on the land of Canaan, and 3 in the future. Yud Aleph. If there's a man who hates his fellow man, he lies in wait for him and rises against him. And he rises up against him, strikes him a deathly blow, and he dies. So that he flees to one of these cities. Yud Aleph. It's a man who, now, if a guy hates his fellow man, and through his hatred he lies in ambush for him. Rashi, next page. That then he's not innocent. He doesn't get to go to the city of refuge because he was premeditated. The guy is trying to use the sanctuary city to go for his premeditated murder. By the way, the fact it says that he so this tells you the rabbi said that if a person transgresses a light commandment, he will eventually come to transgress a severe commandment. Because when you hate somebody, that's a sin, a harbor hatred. But it's more, it's a socially acceptable sin, I hate him in my heart. It's a lighter mitzvah, people think. That'll lead you to come to a severe mitzvah, bloodshed. Therefore it says, if a man who hates his fellow man, when it should have written, if a man arises and lies in wait for his fellow man and strikes him a deathly blow. Yud Gimel. Yud Beis. The elders of his city shall then send for him and take him from there, and give him into the hands, into the hands of the blood avenger, and he shall die. You must not have pity on him. Eradicate from Israel those who shed innocent blood, and it'll be well with you. If the guys did it on purpose, the elders take him away from the city and they give him to the hands of the blood avenger. Interesting. Yud Gimel. You must not have pity, says Rashi. You shouldn't say, this one was killed already. Why should the second guy get killed? Watch the murder he put in. I have two dead guys. Enough. He did that. He deserves capital punishment. He has capital punishment. That ends the daily Chumash.